We did a mic check. Everybody hearing me okay? Okay, great. Well, welcome to everyone here and to all of you out there watching the live stream at our Rio locations and partner sites, where you are going to be hearing from candidates for Community Development's next Associate Dean of Student Services. Tell you a little bit about the role before we get started. The person in this role will oversee student services for our division. And that includes adult education, which is our non credit high school equivalency, English language, and career programming, along with our community partnerships, workforce initiatives, and career services. The Associate Dean also oversees division wide program operations and compliance, student outreach, marketing, enrollment, employer partnerships, assessment, and wraparound student support services. And the role leads student services across those multiple locations and teams. So, before we begin, I would also like to thank the hiring committee for their time and dedication to the process. And we've advanced candidates who will have 30 minutes today with you. So, we've asked each candidate to present for 20 minutes, and then each will have about 10 minutes for questions and answers from the audience. We did ask presenters to discuss their background and experience and how that has prepared them for this position, and then what their vision is for the role. So please join me in a warm round of applause and welcome Dr. Tim Woolsey.
Hello, everyone can hear me okay? Okay, I think so. I can hear myself, which is good. Um, I was introduced already, but my name is Dr. Timothy Woolsey. I go by Tim, so please call me Tim. If you catch me in a hallway or trying to trip me somewhere or something like that, then don't trip me. I prefer to stay on my feet. But a lot of my career, I've tried to really learn about others, and so this position, when I read this description and thought, oh man, this job looks amazing. It really aligns with my values. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, my experiences, and then a little bit about my vision for this position. So it all started many years ago, and I don't have a monitor, so I'm going to look back to make sure my slides are switching. But I was born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, from a large family. I'm the fifth of six children. Grew up with a very low income family, and my parents did the best they could with what they had. At the time, I didn't realize that, right? You're just a kid, you don't know. But as I grew, I learned that I had to get out of what I was in, and I didn't want that for the rest of my life and for my own family later on. And so I left Canada by myself at 17, moved here to Arizona, and immigrated to the United States. As a green card holder, I lost it my first week I was here and had to stand in line outside to get a replacement for 3 days in the heat. Not a good. Never lost it again. Um, but as I finished high school here, I did my last year of high school here and realized I really got to figure out how to better my life. And college was the answer, and I just didn't know how to do that. I wandered onto one of our campuses, Mesa Community College, and into the financial aid office because I was like, I don't have a clue how anything works. Uh, Friendly person there helped me realize I could afford college, and so I attended Mesa Community College for a year and took off, transferring to ASU the next year and finishing my bachelor's degree in 3 years. I got a job because I was like, how am I going to pay my student loans? So ended up getting a job at the University of Phoenix, much like many people in this valley back 25 years ago, and immediately transferred to a campus in Colorado, ground campus there, and was in charge of financial aid, admissions and or not admissions and records. We call that here, right, in Maricopa. It was admissions then, and recruitment. And so I was over that campus trying to get people in and get them going. Then I was asked to be in charge of academic advising as well, and opened two additional campuses in Wyoming. Um, During that time, I finished my master's degree in education, where I focused on retention for adult learners, and was amazed at just the resilience that adult learners have. So it brought me a lot of joy because I could make a difference in people's lives and the people's lives and their families' lives. And for me, that's really the passion that I have in education is, first of all, bettering my life, which has been tremendous, and second, seeing the change that really occurs in people's lives lives because of education. From the University of Phoenix, after finishing my master's degree, I left and decided to make the jump to public education. Got a job at Colorado State University. I think I have a slide for that. That's Colorado State University. Um, I was asked, I took kind of a step backwards and took an entry level position in the financial aid office at CSU, and just opened my eyes to the world of public education, which was so different. I could make a huge difference to access, right? Providing access to the masses and helping people really understand the importance of education in their lives. I was asked to do a lot of things at Colorado State and given a lot of opportunities. Learned a ton. One of the things that I was asked to do was sit on a retention team. I think because of my emphasis in my master's degree being in retention, they asked me to sit on that team for the university. Our goal was to reach 90% retention year to year retention rates. And at that time, we hit that number. We were number one in the country, which was really, really cool. We were very proud of that. And my skills and abilities were growing. I was asked also to lead efforts in revamping the operations of the financial aid office and the admissions office at CSU. So we put together a team. I was a co-lead of a team that we got rid of all of our paper documents finally, way back when, and moved to an imaging and workflow system that was designed to make it easier for students to navigate and also for staff to process, so we can get through things much faster and provide information for students so they can make a more informed decision. From CSU, I left there. I should back up. One of the things that really was passionate about there, I volunteered in a homeless shelter there, and that was mind-boggling for me because I thought I had come from humble roots, and spending time with the homeless population and the struggles that they face day to day really helped me understand a lot more about how we can help students get into a better lifestyle, right, to access education. I was asked to sit on a committee at the state level and worked with legislators in Colorado to pass a bill in Colorado that would help homeless people receive college funding. From there, we went and we lobbied federal financial aid, and the FAFSA, you may have heard, free application for federal student aid. We were able to change some of the questions on the FAFSA to include at-risk homelessness and automatically include that. If they said yes to that, they would be independent and wouldn't have to go through the struggles of trying to find their parents' information if they have parents and all that. So it made it much easier for our at-risk population, which is still in place today, which is really cool. From CSU, I left and decided to come back to Arizona. Was offered a position at Arizona State University in the financial aid office as their assistant director, running their operations. And it was amazing to me when I arrived, they had paper. So I was like, oh my goodness. So immediately, pitched to executives at ASU, we really need to revamp this, make this easier. And within a year, we had changed the entire operations. I led a team that was really, really, really talented. And we changed everything from the admissions process to the financial aid process to our retention efforts, which led to processing times. When I got there, they were about 12 to 16 weeks if somebody submitted a document. It took about that long to process. To about a year and a half later, when we implemented the changes and trained everyone, we were processing everything in under 24 hours. So it was really, really good initiative. Was also asked to, at the school was what they call the quality assurance school. And so looking at operations, looking at how things worked, quality assurance was maybe not what you think it is. Quality assurance was a federal program that allowed us to review data and analyze that data to determine where is it most likely that people are making mistakes on their FAFSA compared to their admissions application. So I was the lead on that, trying to compile all that data from ASU and analyze that data each year to determine who we would require to submit documentation to us, and really try to reduce those barriers for students so that they could access and get into college, and then continue to receive those funds year after year so that they could be retained and be successful. Really successful program. I really enjoyed that. The Department of Education ended that in 2015, and I think the country took a big frowny face at that, but here we are today with the Department of Education and all the changes that are coming down the pike. I'm sure we've all been aware of some of those things. I've spent about 5 years at ASU and had an opportunity to move to the Maricopa Community College system, where I currently serve as the financial aid director at I almost said Colorado State. Um, and I missed my ASU slide, didn't I? But I came to Chandler Gilbert Community College, where I've been for the last 10 years. And what a tremendous opportunity I've had at Chandler Gilbert. As a financial aid director, I've been involved in so many things. You may look at me and think, financial aid director? But I'm not the typical financial aid director. I really like to get involved in a lot of things, as I've kind of talked about a little bit already. But at Chandler Gilbert, I sit on a variety of committees. I think there's a slide, there's too many to talk about, but some that I would like to highlight really have to do with working through partnerships and um, making sure that students have access. I think every move that I've made in my career has aligned more fully with my true values. So I've gone from private to public 4 year to the community college system. And my hope is that I can make the jump here to Rio Salado Community College and work with this population that was just described. The, really the most at-risk population, probably the people that need the most help to really change their lives and change the lives of their families, which is a huge passion of mine. Um, there's a lot that went on at Chandler Gilbert. Let me go. I, while at Chandler Gilbert, I also completed my doctorate in education at Arizona State University. My emphasis was in educational leadership and innovation. And just to talk a little bit about some of my research, I set up some what I called ESPs, or enhanced system protocols. So front end and back end systems that allowed students to access everything easier. You know, much of what I've been doing throughout my career, but I was able to do official research on it and set it up at Chandler Gilbert Community College, and help other Maricopa community colleges as well. As I didn't have that authority or any sort of dictating power there, so I didn't want to push anything on anyone. But at Chandler Gilbert, we made those switches. Uh, the front end and back end processing changes. So, front end would be student facing, where students have things like, and just to briefly talk about a few things, um, direct communication, automated communications, text messaging, nudges to push students along through the process and help them navigate those complex systems of our system and our federal systems that we have to deal with as well. And then back end changes as well, system protocols that help staff be more prepared, more educated, and trained in the expertise that they need to help students. I look at financial aid as a piece of the puzzle, and I really want my teams, and they've done such a great job as they've been growing and learning, to not just think I'm going to help the student with financial aid, but look at the whole picture and how do they get through the process? How do we help them navigate the admissions process that's so wonderful here in Maricopa sometimes? Um, so we can make some of those changes. But my team has done just a great job doing that at Chandler Gilbert, and we've seen tremendous growth. When I implemented these changes at CGCC, we saw an 11% increase in our enrollment and financial aid recipients. So it was, can't make that direct correlation, but I like to say that it was a pretty big influence in the enrollment decision process for students. As they have financial aid in place, they can make those decisions a little bit easier and faster. One of the things that at CSU, ASU, and CGCC that really has I've kind of talked about is I really enjoy process improvement and continuous process improvement. I think that was one of my biggest skill sets coming into Maricopa 10 years ago. And what I've shifted and adapted to, and I think is now one of my biggest strong suits, is people. And I've learned that people matter the most, right? Your teams have to be valued, your teams have to be trained and knowledgeable and feel comfortable being able to make decisions to help students along the way, to remove those barriers and to help students access that education that they need, whether that's their high school equivalency, learning English, or trying to get through to re-career. I think it all is coming back into a kind of a central place for me, which makes me really happy where I started. And I'd love to move into this position to continue to grow and to help other people achieve their educational goals. Um, so talk a little bit about partnerships. I certainly won't go through all of these, but some of the things that I've been a part of or led have really helped me get a bigger picture of not just financial aid or enrollment services or student services, but really college in general. And how do we develop programs? How do we help students figure out what's best for them and move forward in a way that they're going to be successful? I think working with our internal partners, I've been on a tremendous amount of committees. Some of those have been governing councils here in Maricopa. At Chandler Gilbert, I've been a part of a couple of our governing councils, making decisions about student learning success, or utilizing my skills from student services and moving that into our information technology governing councils. I've seen a few presidents come and go, and so we've had to change our structures. And I think it's really nice to have some consistency in leadership so that you can not bounce our students around too much. I think that's been something that's been a skill of mine and some of my colleagues as we've seen leadership changes, and I'm sure all of you have all have seen leadership changes. Um, we we always keep students at the front, and for me, that's really key in making sure that we have our partnerships be successful because students don't know what's happening behind the scenes, right? They just come here and they just need help, and so we can help them. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about my vision for this position, and I jotted down a few words. So if I read a little bit, I apologize, but I want to make sure that I capture everything that I've thought through. As an Associate Dean of Student Services and Community Development at Rio Salado College, my vision is to champion equitable, innovative, and data informed student service systems that empower learners from all walks of life, particularly those seeking second chances and new beginnings through adult education, English language acquisition, and career advancement. In aligning with Rio Salado's mission to redefine the educational experience and empower individual goal attainment, I am committed to expanding access to high quality, flexible, and inclusive services that meet students where they are and support where they aspire to go. This means building student pathways that not only provide high school equivalency or English language skills, but also offer seamless transitions into college level coursework, workforce credentials, and family sustaining careers. My approach centers on empowering our professional teams to lead with integrity, compassion, and excellence. Through collaborative leadership, I aim to enhance the existing culture where staff are inspired to innovate, encouraged to grow, and supported in driving relentless process improvement. I view our division not just as a service provider, but as a catalyst for transformation within the college, across communities, and for thousands of students who depend on us each year. Guided by Rio Salado's practice of engagement, mindfulness, empathy, happiness, and resilience, I lead with intentional listening and humility. I believe that learning comes from those closest to the experience. Our students, our faculty, our partners, and frontline staff. Their voices are the foundation of our work, and I'm committed to leveraging data transparently and inclusively to inform meaningful change, shape responsive programming, and ensure equitable outcomes across all student services. Together, we will continue to advance Rio Salado's vision to empower learners everywhere through innovative education, while strengthening the systems, partnerships, and practices that make long term student success not just possible, but expected. And really, I believe strongly that students need us. I was perusing your website and came across two videos of students um, that almost brought me to tears. It was very motivational. If you haven't seen them, you should watch them. Maybe you posted them. Um, but really, really great stuff, right? Seeing the transformation that students can make just because of education. It can change their lives and really change the lives of their families. So I hope that I will be a good fit here. I really believe strongly in Rio Salado's mission. And I think that just like throughout all the other changes that I've made in my career, I continue to make those changes because it aligns more closely with my own values. So I welcome your questions and hope that I can answer them now. Questions? Yeah.
Oh, oh, there we go. because I know we have people probably joining online. So, but thanks for being with us today and for sharing a little bit about your background and kind of how you've gotten to this point in preparation for this position. Certainly, your thoughts about retention really resonate with me and probably with many of us in this room because our helping students persist and retention is a big part of completion and the outcomes that we're trying to pursue. So, just going off of that a little bit and hearing how retention means, what retention means for you in financial aid, our adult education students aren't, they're non credit. And so we're helping to bridge that non credit to credit. And so I'm curious to know maybe a little more about what retention means for you in terms of helping students persist. And then I'll add that one of the projects or goals or areas that we'll be working on with students in the student services area is with technology to make sure they have access to technology, investing in the classrooms, training employees and students. We have a lot of people coming to the program right now, and technology seems like a way where we can expand our services and give more options and help students be retained and persist. Can you talk a little bit about anything else related to that for retention, and then specifically maybe some experience you have in working with technology in classrooms or technology to support teachers or students, just so that we can learn a little bit more about your experience and knowledge in that area, as that's a big thing that we're thinking about in order to serve students across multiple locations and scale up the programming that we built for them.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
great question. Sounds like some of that was answered as well. Like, you really, I agree with you. We need to open up those avenues so students can access technology. I think that's a huge benefit to students, and we know in today's world, where we have AI helping students. I read an article just yesterday, actually, in the Chronicle of Higher Ed about AI and its use in the classroom, and how initially, a lot of instructors or faculty were thinking AI can be very detrimental because it's cheating, right? But what the article talked about, and I think I really would like to lean into this piece to help students retain more and help them persist, be successful, is they can use AI to help them supplement their education, right? They can get ideas, they can get outlines, they can get templates, they can get study guides. One student in the article was saying they used ChatGPT to help redefine the lectures that the instructors were giving and help them better understand terminology. She was a nursing student and she had failed the first time she attempted the class, and then because she was afraid to use AI, I shouldn't open ChatGPT, it might fail my class immediately, right? But as she started to develop those skills and use ChatGPT or other types of AI, it helped her study better and it helped her learn those concepts even more. I think we have to utilize those things and push technology into the classrooms in a way that allows students to supplement their educational experience and not try to slam the door shut on them, because it's not going away, right? We want to help them utilize those tools and learn how to use it to help them continue to learn. Um, I'm also an adjunct faculty member teaching FYE courses, and I see all the time. I've worked with many faculty as well, and seeing how they help students understand the importance of what they're trying to teach, especially in the FYE class. I see that students need to figure out and how to navigate the systems we have in place so that they can be successful. So it's not just using technology, but also supplementing, using technology to supplement the education, but also bringing people together and helping them feel that they belong. I think that's the biggest thing, that they can do it. I'll refer back to your videos that you have posted on your website. Just a tremendous example of students who, once they make that decision that they're going to change their lives and access education, the support systems we have in place and that Rio Salado has in place make a huge difference to ensuring that those students feel that they belong, that they can do it, and then that they have the resources to accomplish what they need to accomplish. And I think that that's a big piece as we move students from non-credit, help them achieve some of those goals, and then help them realize they can also keep going, right? They can go into credit programs, they can finish an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or beyond. Whatever they want to do, they can do. And with our support, they can do it.
It's always smart to turn off your mic as you hand it off. Hi. Good morning, Tim. Thank you
Morning.
so much. One of the many things that community development does incredibly well is their connection to workforce. And we we are partnering with them in the wider college to get best practices, but their connection to just not only attaining the workforce skills during the trainings and the credit courses themselves, but specifically to companies. I saw on your slide you had like the Future 48 that's happening at Chandler Gilbert and the aerospace connection, Intel. Can you speak more to your industry connection to jobs? What role and what space and support you've been able to do at Chandler Gilbert for that?
Yeah. I don't, obviously we don't have enough time to go through like every single thing that I've been a part of, but yeah, there's great examples. At Chandler Gilbert, have been a part of bringing up those programs. Our aerospace and defense future 48 workforce accelerator team worked with a small group to make sure that we have all the requirements in place. There was a giant grant we got, and I mean giant. Um, but to help those students access those programs, sitting on those teams has been really eye opening for me, and developing those relationships with our partners. Also worked with the Arizona Commerce Authority and bringing up our AI program at Chandler Gilbert. Um, Part of that is because of my current role, but a lot of what like I said, I am not the traditional financial aid director. My lens is much more wide, and I'm asked to do things at Chandler Gilbert that are totally outside of financial aid, and helps me see again the bigger picture. Another example I'll share, and I think it's on that previous slide, but probably nobody knows what it really is. It's called Ask Benji. I was asked to participate on a team for the state of Arizona to develop a product that would increase the Arizona GDP by 10%, the gross domestic product. And so it was a competition that was held in New York. The team was put together. I represented Maricopa Community Colleges and on this team, and we went to New York and presented the idea of creating a chatbot that would allow all students to access FAFSA information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we created that. We won the competition. They gave us $1 million to develop the product, and so we did. The next year, they gave us another $2 million to continue to further develop it, and you can go out and check it out. It's pretty cool. Called Ask Benji. You can text it on your phone. In that, I had to go out and meet with. I went out and met with superintendents at the high schools and met with them to sign off on data agreements so that they could share data across the platform. That way we could access the student data, who's completing their FAFSA already, who's enrolling in college, who's completed admissions applications, and tie that all together so that we could do specific targeted outreach, and even outreach to students that haven't finished and say, hey, there's an event going on. Come over and we'll help you finish your FAFSA. Come over and we'll help you do your admissions application, whatever that might be. So that's ongoing now. ASU has kind of taken over the brains behind that, but I'm still pretty involved in that as they reach out to me and say, we don't know how to answer this question. Can you help us build the brain behind the chatbot to help increase answers for students? So another good example of just partnering with workforce again, and our community partners to make sure that students have access.
Do we have any more questions?
So you do have a lot of experience with different 2-year institutions, 4-year, and you've had to come into a new institution. So, what would you do in your first 90 days, 180 days to integrate, as a leader into community development at a college that's new to you?
Great question. First and foremost, as you've probably taken in from what I've explained in my experiences, I'm a change agent. But I would not come in and try to ruffle everything up and change everything. Really, the most important I think in the first at least 6 months is really to get to know my team, understand their strengths, see where they need support, and understand what they think is needed. Because I'm not an expert in all things, and no one is. And the minute someone says that, then you got to question what they're doing. But we do have expertise in the field, and I'm sure the staff have wonderful expertise and experience that I'd love to hear from them. I would meet with them individually, all of them, and just to get to know them, to hear what they need, to hear what they want. There's a difference there, but certainly to figure out where do we see as a division us going. I'd also meet with my superior and see the vision, make sure that I'm in alignment with that, and make sure that my team understands the vision, so that we can all work towards the same goal.
Thank you very much. And let's give a big round of applause again for Dr. Tim Wolsey. We do really thank you, and we appreciate the opportunity to have this time with you and to learn more about you. So with that, we will conclude this forum. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.